You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
Today I want to go over the deal that we closed on, and I'll talk about how did I find it, how did I fund it, how am I running it. For now, I just wanted to give everybody on here a high level of just kind of what we did. This facility that we bought is this took us 9 months to close. 9 months, okay? And it was a cash deal as well, too. So cash is not always the easiest way to close. So we got it under contract, and then I wanted to pay cash for the deal, right? So I had to raise the money, and raising the money is hard. It's just hard. And then you get attorneys involved. We had the attorneys get involved. And of course, that messed up. That didn't really mess anything up. It just made everything super drawn out and stuff. Because, each attorney got involved and they both wanted something different. And then you had to communicate back and forth to get all that done. And it was really kind of a nightmare. And then on top of that, this owner, he owned this facility in a corporation. He did not own it. Actually, he owned this facility in his IRA. Which is a little bit different type of transaction. It was a corporation that was inside of his IRA. And so because of that, we had to go about buying this property a little bit differently. We had to make sure that on his end, everything was okay, because he was really worried about how much taxes he was going to have to pay based on closing this facility, if he had to pay anything inside of his IRA, or how that was going to work and stuff. And so that's why the attorneys were involved as well, too, is because it was kind of a little bit of a different transaction. But if you're willing to, work through it, and work on it, just kind of go through the motions, then, eventually it'll close. It just takes a little bit of time. So anyways, this is in the last year, we picked up 6 facilities. So this is number 6 in the last year. So that's from August of last year to August of this year. And I raised enough money for 6 facilities, which totaled around maybe $20 million. So, this is a pretty good, this is going to be, I think that's going to be my last facility for this year. Because, now we have 16 storage facilities, and, we really just need to stabilize them is what we need to do. So, getting out there and finding and funding deals is a lot of work, but you got to own the facility and you got to manage the facilities and stabilize them. And it's really a lot of work just to do that. So, my husband, Pete, on the back end, he manages all of our facilities, and they just need time to get everything all worked on and stuff. If I'm always constantly making them buy these facilities, then what they're doing is they're constantly working on onboarding those facilities, right? And the onboarding process is really it's the 90 days before you close, or let's say that 60 days before you close, and then the 90 days after you close. And, it's a lot of work to get the things up and running and stuff. And so we've been buying these facilities every quarter, once every couple of months. And so they're really kind of working on onboarding all the facilities. And so now we're going to just focus on really stabilization, because right now the market is down, but also occupancy is down, prices are down, tenants wanting to go out and rent units are down. Right. So the management portion, what we have internally is that the management portion really is solely focused on how your occupancy is doing. And if you're not occupied, if you don't have 80-90% occupancy, then the value of your property is not going to go up. And what that means is that we have over 2,000 doors. We have to really be focusing on internally how to get new tenants. So for us, marketing is really kind of the most important thing that's going on right now. And in our stage, owning 16 facilities, it's all about how much marketing we're doing. What are we doing to get tenants in the door and get them to stay and get them to pay the prices that we need them to pay? Right. And so a lot of people don't think about this when they think about owning a storage facility. But I mean, the hardest part of really owning a storage facility is like making the returns that you're supposed to be making. So that's what we're focusing on. So we've just decided that, this is going to be the last facility this year that we're going to buy. And over the course of the next year, we're going to focus on really just getting all of the facilities that we have stabilized. I mean, the first 12 that we have really are I would say the first 10 to 12 we have are actually really doing pretty good. But the last ones that we bought in the last year, we need to work on stabilizing those. So that's kind of where we're at. So it's exciting. We have a lot of facilities, but it's also a lot of work. Now it's really management work. Okay, so just a quick reminder is that we have a Facebook group. It's called Super Simple Self Storage. All right. So please join this group, right, if you can. And then that way you can post out any questions that you have in the group. And I follow this group. We all answer questions. My team is there. And we put all kinds of videos in there for you to watch, right? That so you can start educating yourself. So, a lot of information is in this group. And then that way you can kind of see what everybody else is doing and stuff too. So please join this group and become active in this group. Okay. All right, so there's that now. And then the second thing I wanted to go over was the stacyrossetti.com website. And this is where you can get information on my online course, which is Super Simple Self-Storage. All right, and this is really going to walk you through step by step how to get started in self-storage investing. All right, there's like 100 videos, takes you through every single type of like module, acquisitions, marketing, finance, raising money, management, wholesaling, everything is in there. All right. So if you really want to learn, make sure you check this out. Okay. Super Simple Self Storage. And then on top of that, you have access to my deal analyzer. I'm going to show you that today so you can see, because I want you to see the numbers of like how we ran the numbers. But the deal analyzer that you see today is what you can purchase here. All right. So if you need help analyzing a deal, if you don't know how to do that, then you can, there's a whole bunch of videos that go with this. And then also you get the deal analyzer as well too. Okay. And then here is the information about the coaching program. So doors are open as of September 3rd for either the Storage Nerds coaching program or turnkey acquisitions. The coaching program is where obviously I'm coaching you and teaching and guiding you to come to the masterminds, you get to come to the boot camps, all kinds of stuff. Okay. And then the turnkey acquisitions is where you can hire my team to find you a facility. Right, we have 15 virtual assistants that do nothing but call owners and do all the dirty work. All right, and that's turnkey acquisitions. The only way that you can join turnkey acquisitions is if you are a student. All right, I don't hire just anybody. You have to be one of my students. So just so you know that. But there's a whole bunch of information here. And then also there's the podcast information here. And then here is where you can find information about my investors or how you can invest with us. So Self Storage Fund of America, the offering is open for this fund to invest in this fund till the end of September. And then once September is over, the offering is closed. Okay. So if you need a place to place your money, then please make sure you check out the Self Storage Fund of America, which actually is this website right here, Self Storage Fund of America. And this is where you can access the PPM and you can get the information, you can get the access to the subscription, and you can always have, you can come to the pitch and all kinds of stuff. Okay. So I just want to make sure I put that out there because I only have like 4 weeks left for this. So if you're thinking about putting money into the fund, now is the time because the offering is going to close. So we bought this facility right here. So we own the Mission Self Storage is the brand. Okay, so you can go to it's missionself-storage.com is what it is. And this is the facility that we just bought. Okay, so in order to get onto Google listings, it's actually quite a feat. if you don't know what you're doing. But the good thing is that we made friends with the owner, and the owner's really super nice guy that just worked with us. And he knew that we were sitting there trying to raise the money for this purchase, and I wanted to pay cash because actually the issue was with this deal was that he wanted a certain amount of money for the deal, but it was way more than what the value of the property was worth. So in that respect, what that means is that you either have two options. You can pay cash, or you can get the seller to finance it, right? Because no bank is going to finance something that you're paying way more money on if you don't have. He had no P&L, no balance sheet, nothing, because he wasn't really keeping track of anything. And it's funny, he sent me over his P&L and his balance sheet. He sent me over his P&L and his balance sheet. And what happened on this facility is that he owns 3 different companies. And he was just like commingling the funds on all the 3 companies. He would switch money. If he needed money over here, he'd move it over here and move it over here. And like, so you couldn't really tell, like when you looked at the P&L for this facility, you could not tell like what was going on. Honestly, it was like a disaster. And we sent over the P&L and the balance sheet that he sent to us. We sent them over to a couple of lenders and said, hey, what do you think? Would you finance this? And they were just like, no, we can't finance this at all. So we basically, had to either pay cash or get him to sell or finance on this deal, because this is a severely mismanaged facility. It doesn't look mismanaged. You can never really tell if a facility is mismanaged, but he wasn't managing it properly. And he was honest about it. He was like, look, I'm just not into it anymore. I just don't want to do it. I've had this thing and he's like, most of the units are completely full and they're just full of crap and nobody's paying. That's basically what it is. So anyway, so that's kind of how it was. So I tried to convince him to owner finance. I tried with all my heart. I was like, come on, you could do it. Like, give you X amount of money every month or whatever. And he was just like, no, I want to take my money and I'm moving to Costa Rica. That was his thing. He wanted to just move to Costa Rica, him and his wife, and just retire. He was kind of older guy. It's like, I just want to get out of here. That's it. So I remember it was in his IRA. So like, it was like it's kind of a weird deal or whatever, so. Okay. All right. So that's the gist of it. Go to Mission Self-Storage, and it's the Carrollton facility, right? Remember what I said was to get onto the Google business listing. This is not easy, honestly, to do this, because like there's one of 2 things that you have to do. One of them is you either have to like create your own listing and, create a new listing, which is going to be kind of at the same exact spot that the other listing is, right? And then what happens is you'll have like 2 names there. I know you guys have seen this on Google Maps, but you'll have 2 names there. And like, we really don't like to have 2 names there. So what we do is we just take over this listing. And it's really not difficult to do, except for when you're not really tech savvy, it's a little bit difficult. But the good thing is that the owner of this facility is like tech savvy. He's like a tech guy. So basically he just like last week on Friday or whatever, he just gave us ownership to this listing. So really like it only took us a day or so to get, maybe a couple of days just to get ownership. So that's why we already have ownership here. Typically, this does not happen. It could take anywhere from a week to months to get onto Google business listings. But luckily, the owner was working with us and he was like, no, I'll just switch it over for you. Not a big deal. So we already have Mission Self-Storage, the website, and the phone number. This phone number is already ported to us, right? The owner just ported it over to us. And we, him and Pete, my husband, worked together and got it done. Okay, so he just gave us this phone number. So we're up and running in terms of, just bought the facility on Monday. We're up and running in terms of Google business listings. All right, so I'm really excited about this. Now we have to work on pictures and stuff. Obviously, these are the pictures that like. He put, or somebody else maybe put, so I'm not sure what these pictures are, I'm not sure. So we'll have to work on those. And it's actually really hard to get rid of like old pictures and stuff, so that's the one bad thing about taking over somebody's listing is that anything that was put there previously is is going to be there. So you have to basically, what you have to do is just like, I don't know what you do actually. It's like somewhere you like inside Google Business Listings, you tell them like this picture doesn't belong here or something, and then I guess Google looks at it and they'll take it off. So it takes a minute to do that. Okay, so we'll clean up these pictures and we'll get good fresh pictures in here, some marketing pictures and stuff like that. Okay, all right. So Google Business Listing is looking pretty good here. The reviews are not really too bad. We're working on trying to get more reviews, and we'll really work on trying to clean this up, because this is a very big important part of like your owning your facility, because really the number one way that people look for storage is just go on their phone, go onto Google Maps and just click on like storage near me. All right, so you want to make sure this looks good. Okay, and then another thing is that our storage software is already up and running. Okay, so basically the process, so we use storage internally, and the process for getting it up and running actually takes quite a long time. The onboarding process this is not like an instant flip switch thing, all right? So we've been working, remember I said the onboarding process is like those couple months right before you close on the facility. So we have been working together with the owner who was previously using SiteLink to get storage up and running. And so, Storable owns SiteLink, StoreEdge, and ESS. And so they can internally do whatever they do to just kind of switch everything over. And that's the process that we went through to work with them. Now, obviously they have, they tell us what they need to do and stuff, and you go through the process. But we worked on this over the course of the last, couple months and really got everything up and running so that we could, on day one, when we owned this facility, which was Monday, we could just, have a StoreEdge, flip the switch, whatever they do internally, to have us have StoreEdge up and running. So that means like, all these units that you see here, right? These are all internally added, all the 5x10s, all the 10x10s, all the 10x20s, whatever sizes that we have are all internally added into StoreEdge. And then they mark it either as late or available or rented, right? So paid up, right? So the blues are all pay, the green are available, and the red are are past due. Okay. Right. So that's so StoreEdge is up and running. Okay. And so let me see here. That's fine. Let me go to the dashboard here. Yeah. So in the dashboard for Carrollton, you could see here that so right now, as of right now, the numbers are correct in the occupancy. You can see 53% is what we have now. We have our 53% occupied. All right, so when you buy this facility, it's a mismanaged facility. I mean, he's not 80 to 90% occupied, which is what you really shoot for. Okay, 27% are past due. And then we have 74 tenants, and then we already have one lead. Look, see, we already have one lead coming in. And that's kind of how this works. And this is how StoreEdge works, the interface. This is how it looks. So you can always see how many people have seen, like you've got 44 people that have been there for 2+ years. Okay. And then you have 13 people that have been 1 to 2 years. And, so you can kind of get a good overview of like what your tenants look like. So I just wanted to show you those two things are done now. When we opened up when we transferred everything over on Monday, this got done and this got done. Okay. So those are two big things that this is not normal for a lot of facilities. It takes a long time. So for instance, we closed on our facility in Tennessee and the owner would not cooperate with us after closing. And it just took forever to get anything and everything that we needed. It took months. So a lot of times it doesn't work out this way, but this one I'm really excited because we're just like ready to go. Now we need to manage this thing, is what we need to do. And then also I wanted to show you that you could go to the missionselfstorage.com website, right? And then you can see these are the 4 facilities that we own under this brand. Okay. And so you can come and check us out. If you want to check us out, see what our website looks like, this kind of thing, it's all here. And you can see that our like website guy already has the website done. Everything is done for this page, right? We're just adding a page to the website. And so we don't go through StoreEdge, or, we don't use them. We have our own I have my own internal marketing team that does all of our websites and stuff. And so this is how, this is already done. So on day one, we are ready to manage this facility. And a lot of times I just see people like they buy the facility, they don't get a lot of stuff done, and then they're just scrambling for the first couple of months. And we've just learned over the last couple of years that that's just way too stressful. You want to do that. As much as you could possibly get beforehand done, before closing, you want to have that done. So this was all created beforehand. And then once the closing happened, we could just add the page, flip the switch. And you could see the sizes, right? And you could see the all the different sizes. You could see the testimonials, etc. And then the rent now page just goes directly to the StoreEdge page is what happens. All right. And then they can just rent directly from there. And that's how it works. Like you can actually own your own website, create your own website, and then just link the StoreEdge back office software to your page. And that's kind of what we do. Okay, good. So there's that. You can come check it out here. Okay. All right. So now what I wanted to do, I wanted to get into some pictures. Let's get into some pictures of Carrollton, and I could show you kind of what it looks like. Let me see. So this is what the facility looks like overhead. Okay. So it's got a lot of units. These are all units here. These are all units here. This is the commercial space that's included. Okay. But this commercial space right here it has 2,000 square foot units. That's that big building that you saw in StoreEdge. This is it right here. And the owner, he rents these spaces out for $500 a month. And they've been there for years and years and years, these people. This building does not have any AC. It does have electric, but it doesn't have overhead lighting. It's just like when you walk into the room, it's just like a concrete block walls and a concrete floor. And then that's it. There's no AC, there's no heat, and there's no lighting. Okay. So it's like this empty kind of shell of a space. And there's 5 of these, and there's a bathroom. There's a bathroom in each one of those spaces. Okay. And some of them, like they just put lamps and stuff up or whatever they do, and then some of them, they actually put lighting up ahead, maybe updated a little bit, but, they have they're like kind of like industrial, industrial types of companies that are renting these out, and they're paying like $500, maybe $600 a month. And that's it. So this is a 10,000 square foot building that's making, maybe $2,500 a month. And that's it. I mean, it's like crazy what he's getting for this. I mean, he said like they've been there for years, and I'm just not going to raise the rent. I don't feel like putting air conditioning in. I'll put lighting in. I don't want to do anything. So I just leave them at like $500 or $600 a month, and that's it. Okay. Put your thoughts in about that into the chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Okay. So my idea, I mean, essentially right now, I mean, we're just going to see, we're going to talk to the people and also another thing is he treats them as a unit. They're on month-to-month contracts. So they're just paying on a monthly basis. Okay. So, so my idea is to make this into climate control. This is my idea. Like this building, I think, would be the perfect climate controlled structure. I mean, obviously there's walls in between, and stuff, but why can't we make this into climate control? So this is one thing that we're going to be looking at. But the thing is this money right here, this building, I didn't even put it into the numbers because I really honestly didn't know what we were going to do with this. So I just really ran the numbers on what the units were going to be making. That's it. I just looked at the units. What are we going to be making? That's it. And so that's kind of how I looked at this. I think this is just like a work in progress. We're going to have to see what we're going to do with this. I've talked to my husband and we're just trying to figure it out right now. Okay. Well, that'd be fun. It'd be a good project. Now, let me see. Now, so this is the building itself. I mean, the facility itself, the building itself is not bad. I mean, it's just an old building that needs to be painted. You could always, this is one of the, one of the spaces up here. And there's a big like parking space right here too that's not being utilized for anything. So it'll be interesting to see what we come up with. We might do a feasibility study and talk to a couple people and just see what we should do with this. Okay, but the storage itself is over here. It is not bad at all. It's not bad. There's not really any work. I mean, there's a couple of doors. I think my husband said there's like maybe 3 doors that need to be fixed, and that's it. Now it could be power washed. That's something that we're definitely going to do, is power wash. But other than that, I mean, the facility itself is really actually not bad at all. It's got its own gate, it's all asphalt, it's fine. It's fine. So this is the building itself. You can see this is what it looks like with these doors here. Okay. And okay, so those are the pictures. So we see, yeah, that's the pictures. Okay. All right. And let's see what else. Yeah. So let me just get into the deal analysis. Actually, let me just show you. This is the executive summary. All right. So this is kind of what we put together to show investors. All right. This is the pictures. And it's located in Carrollton, Georgia. Now remember I told you we have 6 facilities in Atlanta, and actually we have several facilities all in this area. So for us to add another facility here is not a big deal. Anyways, our boots on the ground can just take care of it. 1 day a week, go over there, do walkthroughs, check on it, clean it up and stuff. And here's the 5-mile radius. There's 45,000 people within a 5-mile radius. Right. So I mean, this is a very heavy. This is really like this is a sub-primary location. If anybody knows Carrollton, Georgia, it's like a booming area in Georgia. It's a suburb of Atlanta. Okay. So yeah, so the way that we found this facility is one of my virtual assistants from Turnkey Acquisitions called him and asked him if he'd like an offer. And he said, yeah, I'll take an offer. So that is how we found the facility. We really just called him up and asked him if he'd like to have an offer. Okay. That's how we found it. How did I fund this facility? Right. I funded it by raising the money to purchase it. All right. I purchased it for $1.4 million. I'll get into that. And I raised the money to buy this facility. Okay. All right. So let me get into the deal analysis so that you guys have an idea of what that looks like. Do you need to be an accredited investor to invest in my fund? Yes. It's a 506c, so it's an accredited investors only. How did I find this facility? I told you, we called him up and asked him if he wanted an offer. Okay. Yeah, and then Kayla says that would definitely make it into climate control. Exactly. So I think most likely that looks like a climate control building to me, doesn't it? It looks like a climate control building. And then Kayla says, when you say raise the money, can you elaborate on this? So we raised the money as in like, I am asking people if they will give me any money to use to buy the facility, right? That's what I'm doing. When I say raising money, that just means I'm asking people. Now, you have to be able to ask people within your circle. Like you can't go out and ask strangers unless you have a fund, right? A 506c fund. This is one of my facilities inside the fund. The Mission Self-Storage brand that I have is my fund, the Self-Storage Fund of America. Okay. So this one is going into the fund. So I raise the money from investors asking people if they want money. This is why you see me pitching every single week. It's because I'm asking people to raise money for properties like this. Okay. But you don't have to have a fund. All right. So you can find somebody to partner with. Right. So inside your circle, you should be talking to people that you know and asking them if they'd be interested in like going in with you on a deal. Right. And so when you do that, like if you find 2 or 3 people that say, yeah, I'd be interested in putting some money in, then you could just basically form a partnership and then you could go out and you could buy the property that way as well, too. Right. I happen to have a fund, and so I just raise the money through my fund. But all my facilities, I've raised money on every single one of my facilities so that I don't have to put any money in. And that is basically what I'm doing. Raising money equals, right, asking people for money. Okay, starting out within your circle. Now, I don't know if you guys saw, but make sure y'all follow me. That's why I said get into the Facebook group. I'm speaking at the Capital Raising Summit. If you go to capitalraisingsummit.com, I'm speaking there. and September 14th, I think is when I'm speaking. But that is a conference for people that want to learn how to raise money. So highly recommend checking that out. If you put in S Rossetti into the code, you can get a discount too. It's capitalraisingsummit.com. It's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So you better go there. If you're interested, go there. It's in Houston. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, so commercial real estate is super expensive, and your money is not buying you what it used to be able to buy you a couple of years ago. Right? So that means that you have to learn how to raise money. Raising money equals asking other people for money to buy property. That's what it is. Okay. And there's rules and regulations behind doing that. And you have to learn those rules and regulations. And that is what the Capital Raising Summit is about. Okay. Is to go do that. Or you can join the Storage Nerds coaching program, and I can help you do that as well too. Okay. So now let's get into the deal analysis. I want to show you the numbers, and I want to show you my deal analyzer so you can see how amazing this deal analyzer is. So this is the deal analyzer. The first thing that we do when we get the facility, find a facility, is we basically have to get the numbers so we can run the analysis. On our deal analyzer, this is one that you can go to the website and purchase. Everything in yellow is what you're filling in. Okay. Now, the annual income for this facility was $150,000. All right. Last year in 2022, he made 150 grand. Okay. And the only way I saw this, remember, was not from his P&L and his balance sheet, but remember that he used SiteLink. And SiteLink is the software for you to manage your facilities. And so I asked him for the management summary. And on the management summary, you could see how much, he's making, the rent roll and the management summary. Now, there's a lot of economic occupancy. There's what's called physical and economic occupancy. Physical occupancy is how many people are in the property, and economic occupancy is like how much money you're actually making, right? If everybody was actually paying for the 175 doors, if everybody was paying what they should be paying, but what they should be making, I mean, he should be making upwards of $270,000 for this property. Okay, because this property in this area, in this Carrollton area, properties are going for almost $1 a square foot. And the units are, sorry, not property, but units are going for $1 a square foot. So this number right here is really your competitive analysis number. What is the price per square foot in the area that your facility should be making? All right. Are they where they're supposed to be? Are they below? Are they above? What is it? Right. So this number is the most important number of all the numbers, because this is the number that's going to show you how much money your property is actually going to be making. Okay. Now you can see it's 25,000 square feet. He was making $150,000. It's 175 doors, and he's 32% vacant. This is the numbers that it was. Now he just did auctions. That was in 2022. So he did a lot of auctions, and you can see now he's 50% vacant, right? And also the numbers are never correct. So you're always thinking, oh, he's, 35% vacant, and the truth is it's probably more than that, honestly. And then also what happens is that when you switch owners, a lot of people are going to leave. I mean, that's just how it is. People are just like, I'm just going to, this is the reason why I should just get out of this place. So people don't stay. A lot of times they don't. Okay. So anyways, these are the numbers that he gave us. This is what we gave for 2022. And so we ran the numbers, okay? And you can see here, we run our numbers on our deal analyzer in 3 different ways. Actually, there's 8 different ways. I would say 8 different ways, but I'll show you those. But 3 different ways. 3 different ways is your current as is right now. What is the property worth? Like right now. Okay, so you can see the value of this property is right here at $1.4 million. We ran it at a 7 cap. The 7 cap is just like a market cap rate. It's like, what are properties in the area really going for? What cap rate? And it could be anywhere, if you've watched any of my videos, primary markets typically 5 to 6. Secondary markets are like 6 to 7, and tertiary markets are like 7 to 8 or something like this. That's kind of what it's going for right now. Okay. And so we have a 7 cap because this is really kind of like a subprimary market. I mean, it's a suburb of Atlanta. Okay. All right. So you can see here that he's made 150 grand. It's 175 doors. It's 25,000 square feet. He's 32% vacant. The value of this property comes out to $1.4 million. All right. Then we do the competitive analysis. All right. So that goes on this tab right here, really. And that is where we put all the facilities in the area within, like, we did like a 2-mile radius, every facility that we could find. We called them up, right, and asked them some pertinent information, but really tried to get the prices, of what their units are, right? What are their units prices? And this is basically what we came up with, right? So 5 by 10, 10 by 10, 10 by 15, 10 by 20, and 10 by 25 is the unit mix that we have at this facility. What is the competition charging, right? And you can come up with the average per unit or the average per square foot, right? By doing your competitive analysis. This average per square foot right here for the facilities just populates onto our unit mix spreadsheet, right? So you've got all the unit sizes and the square feet, the number of units. You can see there's 72 5 by 10s, 10 by 10s, 83. He's got a lot of smaller units, and then some bigger units as well too. And then you could see here that his current rate is at 79 cents a square foot. If he was at 100% full, he would be getting 79 cents a square foot. He should be making $20,000 a month if he was 100% full and actually getting the rate that he has on his website and stuff. Okay. And then the competition is right here. So the competition is at 94 cents a square foot. If you're 100% full, you should be making around 25, maybe almost $25,000. Now remember, he's 35% vacant, right? So he's not making this much money per month. But if he actually was, he should be making $20,000 a month. Okay. So that's kind of how we do a competitive analysis based off of the unit mix that is in the area. Okay. So that is where we get the 95 cents right here. So it's 95 cents a square foot. All right. And then you have to add in your expenses. Now on our sheet, anything in yellow, there's formulas for. You could see there's formulas, right? And we basically just base these off of like our expenses. When there's not a formula, that means that you just need to plug those numbers in, right? But typically most of our expenses are formulas, but you can always override it. That's why it's in yellow, is because you could just override your expenses. If you say, oh no, Stacy's way too expensive on her stuff, because we typically run our numbers at 38%. For expenses. Okay. It kind of comes out to 38% for us, and so we have our students using that number. But if you think you could do it better, change them, change them to whatever numbers you want. That's why it's all in yellow. Anything in yellow you could change, but anything that's not, you can't click on any of these other spaces. Okay. You can't click on that. Okay. So this is what we call the info tab. This is where you're inputting all the inputs and stuff, and it comes up with a quick evaluation. And remember that we run our numbers current, and then we run our numbers potential, which is basically taking it from 32% to 8% without raising any rates. Okay. So we know that, just like we said, he should be making around 20 grand, almost 20 grand a month if he was at 8% vacancy. Okay. And then if you raise the rents to 95 cents, then he would be at $270,000. So this is how we run our numbers. If you're with me, say I'm with you in the chat. And if you're not, just put your question in. Okay. Remember, on My Deal Analyzer, you can run your numbers in 5 different types of structures. Then so you can see this little top left button right here. There's cash. All right. And then you can do owner financing, which is really creative deal structure. Creative deal structure number 2, creative deal structure number 3, or you can do bank financing or like a private money lender. So if we were going to do bank financing, this is what the terms would look like. And there's a little debt service ratio here that gives you the debt service ratio, right? So at $1.425 million, And the debt service ratio is 0.99. Now, remember, a bank wants 1.3 right now. I mean, we had a lender come onto our mastermind the other day, and he was adamant that he wanted 1.3. All right. And so, to get to a 1.3, we would have to significantly lower the purchase price, right? So you have to keep that in mind if you want to go to a bank. If you can pay cash, then who cares what your debt service ratio is, right? Doesn't matter. That's why it says NA. If you want to do some owner financing, right? It doesn't really matter what your debt service ratio is, but it still shows you that because it's financing, right? The way that you run creative deal structures is the same way that you run bank financing or private lenders. So we have the financing inputs tab. Okay, this is where you add your financing inputs, and you get to run your numbers in 5 different scenarios. Okay, so we always do a cash offer. We do some seller financing or creative deal structures right here, and then we do a bank or private lending here. But really, these 4 terms are really the same structure. It's the same exact thing, just copied 4 times. Okay, you can run your numbers in 4 different financing structure ways, is what I'm saying. Okay, so for this offer, for this facility, we ran our numbers to where we have a 1.425, right, cash offer, right? And if we pay cash for this facility, let me make sure we're on owner financing. If we paid cash for this facility, right, you could see that, we're at a 15% cash on cash return. You can also see right here in yellow what you want your cash on cash return to be. If you want your cash on cash return to be 20%, then put 20%. Right. If you want it to be whatever amount of money that you want your cash on cash return, I typically run my numbers at 10%, but you can put whatever you want. Okay. And then also you can also change your net after the mortgage. If you want to actually make you net 10%, then you can put it in, or 30% or 40% after you pay the mortgage. You could just put whatever number that you wanted. Okay. But you can see when you're doing like financing terms for for your offers, I mean, really, the things that you want to know is what is your purchase price? What's your down payment? What's your interest rate? What's your interest rate on the loan? Interest only loan, yes or no? You can also switch these and you could do interest only terms. Like if you wanted to do an interest only offer, you could switch it and do it that way as well too. Length of the balloon period, length of the amortized interest. All right. And then you have your startup costs, which basically comes from this little area right here, your CapEx and stuff like this. And then your loan amount, the total interest, the total paid, and the payoff time, right? 10 years. And then you have your payments, down payment, balloon payment, monthly payment, right? So you could see here, if I took owner financing 1, I'd do $285,000 down. And I'd have a balloon at 1.14, and my monthly payment with $3,800. This is with interest-only payments, 20% down, 40% interest, right? And if I did, a financing, this is a typical bank term right now, right? 1.425, 30% down, 8% interest, fixed interest for 10 years over 20. Right, I'd have to come up with a down payment of $427,000, all right, and have a mortgage payment of $8,300 a month. My cash on cash return would be 27%, and net after mortgage is 44%. Okay, and you can change your terms to anything that you want on anything at all, just knowing that you just have to know what is your down payment, what's your interest payment, what's the balloon, what's the amortization going to be. Once you fill all these numbers in, the sky is the limit. You can come up with a million different ways to run your numbers. And if an owner comes back and says, look, I want to make sure that I'm making, $6,000 a month. And you look at the monthly payment and say, okay, like, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm getting him $6,000 a month? If the owner is adamant that he wants $400,000 down, then you run the numbers based on getting him the number for the down payment that he wants. Okay. So this is just how we run our numbers. Okay. And I put the offers in. I mean, in the end, what we do is we create 5 different offers. Right? There's 4 different offers. And then these numbers right here flow through onto our magic letter. Right? This is the magic letter, the magic offer letter. Okay. And this is where we are basically the numbers just come right over from the input page. And then we have our offer letter and say, look, we'll pay this, or we'll do this, this, or this. You could actually make another 400 grand if you own or finance this deal to us. And we show what the total interest to the owner is and what the net amount to the owner is. Okay. And so this is kind of the little table that we show. And, and of course, our little letter says, like, everything's negotiable. Give us your idea what you want. And we send something like this over to the owner for Carrollton. And he was just like, no, I only want cash. If you want to buy this thing, that's it, cash only. And we started out with 1.2 million. And then, of course, he said, I'll only sell it if we do this much money. And he wanted more. He wanted 1.6. And we met in the middle at 1.4. And that's how it worked, right? So this isn't really the final offer, but this is the offer letter to get the wheels turning in the owner's brain of what, could possibly be, or let's just get started on the negotiations. We could try to create a win-win situation. Okay. So that's how that works. So you can see here that I paid the 1.425 in cash, right? So we paid really basically what it was worth, as of then. And then now the goal is to not increase rates, but to increase the occupancy, right? Because we have a lot of availables. There's no reason to really increase the rents. Our goal is to get it occupied first, and then slowly increase the rents. And so we'll take this from a $1.4 million facility to its over $3 million facility just by getting it from 71 cents a square foot to 95 cents a square foot. And this is going to take probably 24 months plus in order to do this. All right, this is not something that happens overnight, okay, to get it filled up, stabilized, and then, at like 85 to 90% full, okay? So that's just the storage. Okay, that's just the storage. And you kind of have an idea of how the deal analyzer works. But I just wanted to give you an idea so you could see how easy it is to run the numbers and look at everything. And it gives you all of the valuations. This is where it gives you the NOIs, right? So, once we get it to 95 cents a square foot, then, we'll make 295,000 minus the vacancy, minus the expenses of 50,000 is an NOI of 219. We have no mortgage, so our NOI is just 219. Okay. I just have to share this, this number with, all my investors based on what we set up for the, for the investment. But that's how it works. But you can look at the NOI based on current. You can look at the NOI based on just getting it leased up. And then you can look at the NOI based on getting it leased up and raising the rents. Okay. And then you can run your numbers based on 5 different scenarios. Any type of 5 numbers that you want, you can run them at the same time. That is the deal analyzer. So I hope that you guys utilize that and use the magic letter and send out some offers. That is what we did exactly for the Carrollton facility. Is we just called the owner, asked him if he wanted an offer. He sent us his information over, gave us some information, and then we put all the numbers into the deal analyzer and we sent the offer over. Okay, and that's what started the whole thing. Just a quick reminder, you can go to stacyrossetti.com to pick up the course or the deal analyzer and start practicing with it. Just put offers in. It's just an offer. It's nothing but an offer. That's it. We put a ridiculous amount of offers in. That's what your goals should be. And then do you restrict your acquisitions to the Southeast? Are you expanding? So we only buy in the Southeast, but my students are buying all over the country. So we have virtual assistants calling in almost every state. And so we find facilities for all the students. So that's, so I know the market. I know tertiary and secondary markets. I don't really know primary market very well because we don't focus on that area. Okay, good. Well, I appreciate you guys spending time with me today, and hopefully you guys will check out the course and the deal analyzer. And then you can always come to the Wednesdays. I'm here. You can see me on Wednesday as well too. And Alberto, final questions. If we become a student, do you help with raising funds? Yes. You have boot camps. I just spent 2 days on a 2-day boot camp, how to raise funds. Yes. And then also I partner with my students and I help my students raise the money as well too. All right. Thank you guys. Take care. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.